doggy. Let's talk about American politics. My name is Scott Garibay. Let's get into it. We are now in the SNL Saturday Night Live Shane Gillis redemption arc, right? So they brought in Bowen Yang, and they got all their, liberal points for bringing him in. By the way, Bowen Yang is ridiculously funny. He is extremely liberal, and I think he's too liberal. And I really think he's not a loving person to people outside of his, outside of the liberal check boxes. Check my last video. I did all the liberal check boxes, right? And each one of those people should be loved, but the problem is you shouldn't just love them, right? And anybody outside of those check boxes, you need to love them too. And I don't think Bowen Yang does. But he's an extremely talented comedian, and that's what he's on SNL for. And he's been crushing it. And I have to say, I really enjoy him in a lot of movies too. But Bowen Yang and Shane Gillis were hired at literally the same day, right? They kept Bowen Yang, and they fired Shane Gillis within 24 hours, right? And I think Lorne Michaels is like, that was a huge mistake. Shane Gillis is selling out stadiums, and is one of the funniest guys in the country. And my show would have many Republican Republican viewers if Shane Gillis was on the show. We could have transformed the shape of SNL rather than just being another tired Hollywood liberal mouthpiece. Now, I want to be super clear. I watch SNL all the time. And so if I'm one of the reasons why I'm not that right wing, right? I really am not, right? I'm going to be completely honest with you. My plan is on November 2nd. Actually, I heard it's November 5th. What did they change the date for? Let's say November 2nd, right? Like November 2nd, I'm going to cast my vote for Donald Trump. And the reason why is I'm sick of rising inflation, rising crime, and rising war. I cannot wait to punish every Democrat in the nation by putting Trump back in. I have never voted for him before, but I want a stable economy, I want a stable neighborhood, and I want a stable world, and I know Kamala Harris ain't going to give a single one of those, right? So that's why, right? So here's the issue, right? SNL has been a liberal mouthpiece for decades, for 5 decades, literally 5 decades. They're 50 years old now. But Lorne Michaels woke up, and that guy is brilliant. He's like, I'm not just going to make half the country laugh anymore. And he absolutely savaged Kamala Harris. And this is new. This is a massive political change, right? So let's get into it. What did he make fun of her for, right? So in the opening skit, right, they brought out Maya Rudolph. She did spot on perfect impression of Kamala Harris. And they went to town on her husband, Doug, right? And they brought in Andy Samberg. And they were like, hey, I'm Kamala's husband. And I know a lot of you guys think I'm subordinate to her. And they actually went into it. I couldn't believe it. And Andy Samberg made a whole bunch of jokes about Kamala Harris quite literally wearing the pants in the family. And that essentially, I'll say it the nicest way I can, that Doug is a complete beta, right? And that Kamala Harris controls him from top to literally bottom. Yep. All right. And now why would this matter? So first of all, I was absolutely shocked that they would make this joke, right? And the reason why is this is Shane Gillis's material, in my opinion. He's like, hey, over here on the blue collar side, where we buy pickup trucks and we eat cheeseburgers, and we don't care if the earth melts, right? Because we're balled out, full on Americans, and you could take your hummus eating, electric car, Birkenstock, hippie junk to the junkyard and chuck it. You could throw it in a lake, right? On this side, this don't fly and actually, just so you're aware, these are points in the general. SNL is points in the general, right? How many? Probably 1 to 3%, right? Whoever gets SNL support is getting 1 to 3% of the American vote. Not a joke, in my humble opinion. It's full on, celebrity, Hollywood celebrity material. It's been successful for 5 decades. It's been successful for 5 decades. It's been successful for 5 decades. And I don't care if you don't think SNL isn't funny. And I don't care if you don't watch SNL and you haven't since Coke and a Pepsi, or a burger and a Pepsi, Pepsi no Coke, right? Since the Belushi days or Chris Farley days. That thing is a banger. It really gives 1 to 3 points in the general. And what astounds me is Lorne Michaels, to get Republican votes, is willing to savage the current Democrat leader, right? And take her to town and say, your husband is a complete beta. And I want every single evangelical Christian family in America, right, to think that your family is, what word are we going to use? All right, now, first of all, I want to make this super clear, okay? I actually think there was quite a bit of cruelty in what was done to Doug, right? I think it's pretty cruel, right? And I'm only talking about it because I want to talk to you about what SNL is doing right now. This is a huge shift in American politics, right? Saturday Night Live, you used to be dyed-in-the-wool liberal allies, are now going after Republican laughter. And we need to talk about what that looks like, okay? All right, so I don't use this word. I think this is terrible to call a person, right? So I'm saying that Lorne Michaels is saying this to every evangelical Christian out there, is saying the following thing, right? He's like, hey, Kamala Harris's marriage is weird. Weird. Why do I use that word? There's a huge change happening. In this election, the Democrats said, we hate weird, right? 4 years ago, they were saying, fly your freak flag. Fly your freak flag. Now, they're like, if you got a special flag, you better put it away because we only like conformists. If you're out of the norm, we don't like you. We don't like weird, right? But Lorne Michaels is flipping it and saying, hey, everybody, that is not a regular, normal marriage. Now, I think that's incredibly cruel. And the only reason I'm pointing it out, right, is this is a massive shift in American politics. Lorne Michaels going, hey, I do not just want Democrats laughing anymore. I want to mercilessly, savagely, ridicule and mock and insult the number one Democrat in the country, the Democrat candidate, much more savagely, much more personally, and much more damagingly than Donald Trump. That is shocking. That is a huge tectonic shift in American politics, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.